So hey my dudes, I wanted to talk about why dating is broken in 2024. People talking about all this shit. And a lot of men are extremely insecure, like they look at dating apps and stuff and like no women seem interested in them. And yeah, in the past there weren't any computers and social media. Computers back when I was a kid was mainly seen for nerds and weirdos and stuff when I was growing up in grade school. And as I got older, social media started coming out and stuff like MySpace and stuff, and like all the normies started using computers and, stuff. And then, smartphones started having apps and stuff. It wasn't just for calling and texting people anymore. And a lot of modern people don't know how to deal with all of this. And the thing is, the reason why dating was so much easier before all of this is because people were forced to go outside. People were forced to have real world social interaction. These days, everybody's disconnected from each other because they're listening on earbuds and playing on their phones, and they're very isolated, and, there's just a lot less community and social friendship bonding and all this shit. So if you didn't get in relationships when you were growing up, when you were still in school and stuff, it can be hard, especially if you have a job where there's nobody but like men, for example. Again, the last couple of jobs I had, it was like 99% men. So, the chance of you dating pretty much zero. And again, so there's plenty of people that are still dating. I see it all the time. Like at my last job, it was like a equal amount of men and women. And on Valentine's Day, it turns out they were all dating each other. All these different people were dating each other. And I had no idea. And so it's happening. It's happening everywhere. People dating. Usually women date and men date, people around them at work, at school, at social communities. But again, the problem is a lot of people don't have these communities anymore. And then they go on dating apps and it's like, women find men unattractive and uninteresting and blah, 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 blah. It makes men really insecure. There's so many men out there that can't find community dating pools, basically. And I have to say, I was one of those people. I didn't have any friends really most of my life. I mean, when I think back about it, again, if you watch a lot of these men giving dating advice, they talk about a lot of it like, oh, women only want men for their money and all this crap. But when I think back of when I was growing up, there were girls hitting on me, every single year. There were girls basically throwing themselves at me, and there were years where like I just sat alone. I was just like friendless, and like some girl would be like, hey, I know some girl that likes you and shit like that, and back then I didn't know how to handle it. I'd be like, okay, bye, go fuck off, leave me alone. And it just kept happening when I was growing up. Like women would have crushes on men, and men are so stupid these days, and they listen to such terrible advice that they think women are not attracted to men. But it really comes down to how women meet men and where they're meeting men and stuff, and men trying to meet women differently than women are trying to meet men. So again, you're not going to find normal women on dating apps. So you have all these men on these dating apps, barking up the wrong tree and getting insecure and frustrated, listening to other men's advice, not getting a woman's perspective on a lot of this. And then when they do watch women, it's usually handpicked by other men, like, oh, look at this woman, she only wants men for their money, she only wants men for blah, blah, blah. The thing is, women are really attracted to men. They're not gay, they're not lesbians. They're actually attracted to men. And again, if you think back about when you were growing up and you would see women have crushes on guys and all this shit. And again, most people are in relationships. They're married, they have kids, they settle down. There's a lot of that, okay? For example, when I started this ASMR channel, I had to say there were like 4 or 5 women just hitting on me, in the comment section and shit. And so what I'm saying is, instead of being on like a dating app, social media where you can like express yourself and just be yourself and, put yourself out there, for example. Women find that, interesting. They can actually see you and your personality and shit. And then you'll be surprised all of a sudden women will start hitting on you, You see, and it's, again, if you have like a shitty male-dominated gaming channel, for example, the odds of, women seeing you and hitting on you, slim to none. If you're making ASMR videos, for example, where the community is made up of a lot of women and a lot of men, there's more women that are going to see your channel. You may have more men watching your videos still, but you'll see that, you have more women in the comment section, like talking to you, hitting on you and shit like that. And so it's interesting, when I think back about like all these different, scenarios, again, the thing is, if you put yourself out in the right situations, you'll have a lot more interactions with people. But again, like most men don't even realize they're doing this to themselves, but they're hanging out in groups of other men. They have hobbies and interests that only men care about. The gaming, the video gaming, and all the nerdy little hobbies, that women don't care about. Hanging out in these places where it's just nothing but men. That's a big problem. And again, you may even, be in situations, jobs, communities where there's women, but you're so socially retarded and antisocial and just listening to earbuds and playing on your phone that you're not small talking and communicating with people, But I have noticed that, people that you're directly working with and stuff, it turns out a lot of them are dating, So, I mean, the thing is, so many men are insecure, have all these issues, and it's because they're watching, these things that are coming out of the woodwork made by other men, saying how difficult it is, how frustrating it is, because things are different, the dynamics are different, and that's really all I wanted to say. It's a lot of you guys are not expressing yourselves and putting yourselves out there in the right situations to encounter relationships and stuff, to be honest. Or you're ending up putting yourself in the wrong places and meeting the wrong women, that have their own issues. So, I know a lot of you guys understand this and probably already know this, that, if you have big social circles of friends, you again, like all the people that I knew growing up, a lot of them dated each other and settled down. A lot of them had divorces and they intermingled with other people that they knew growing up, So a lot of these social circles are a big thing. And a lot of it has actually moved online. They talk about that. Oh, more people are meeting and dating online now, but they're not doing it on dating apps, you idiot. They're not filling out stupid profiles and then liking 1,000 people. They're doing things more naturally, having hobbies or interests that women also like, and putting themselves out there, and that's all it is, And again, like I said, I think the main thing is men have to realize that women are attracted to men. They're not all a bunch of lesbians or like, not looking to date. A lot of women love relationships. They love it. They think it's amazing. And, a lot of men don't realize this because they're so frustrated, and they're, barking up the wrong trees, and they're taking all this terrible advice, and they're hyper fixating on insecurities and things that don't really matter, So that's all I wanted to say. And I guess boomers don't understand this stuff, or even, Zoomers or whatever the hell, But, it took me a long time to figure this shit out, and I'm like a millennial, But I started to realize that I'm like, my social circle is just nothing but men. All of my hobbies are nothing but men. My job is nothing but men. Everything around me is nothing but men, Women don't see me, And then you put yourself on stupid dating shit, and then you wonder why, it's just all men, It's all men. Nobody else is looking at that shit. So anyway, I'll see you guys later.